I'm Dale Wallen. I graduated from the class in 1965, and I came back also as a teacher in the fall of 1969, and I taught here at Spring Lake Park for 37 years. Our graduating class was, I believe, right around 165. That was the biggest at that point. Each year was increasing probably about 30 or 40 per class, and so at that time that was the biggest. Quite a change from now where they're graduating about maybe close to 350 per class. Yeah, we were kind of a unique class. We had our graduation down at Columbia Heights. That was the year the tornado came in May, early May, and destroyed a great portion of the school there. So we ended up finishing out the year with half days and then holding a graduation ceremony down at Columbia Heights High School. So you could say we're graduates of Columbia Heights and Spring Lake Park. As I said, the tornado came in early May. Came on a Thursday, if I recall. I think it was like about 5 after 7. Myself, we just finished up a baseball game that day, so I headed home. I suppose I got home about 6:30 or so. I only lived a block away all my life through school here. And I know there was a big group of kids gone to a track meet. I think they got stranded at the school here or under the cloverleaf on a bus. And a little after 7, they came roaring through, and it was pretty dark out after that. When the tornado came through, I was at home. It got pretty quiet out, like I said, a little after 7, and it got pretty dark, and so we headed downstairs in the basement, and we heard a roar go through the neighborhood, and a matter of minutes or so it was over, came out, and the neighbors, top half of their house is our backyard. Our house didn't show any damage. We just had the car slid over a ways and banged up. About a block away, Dahlberg's model home right across the highway at that point was leveled. And then, of course, all the damage down in Melody Manor being flattened out, and south of the school there, all the houses there being leveled. Or in Ballantyne Lane, that was also hit pretty hard. So pretty devastated. Had National Guard come in for quite a while. I could say the school was pretty well demolished. The gym area itself, the roof was open. We walked into the gym the next day or two. It rained in. You could stand on the gym floor and grab a hold of the basketball rim. Just the floor buckled that much. So pretty well messed up the whole school and the rest of the school year. Yeah, school ended up being canceled for a couple days, and we ended up using the junior high wing, which has now been used for the ALC area. And at that point in the school here, we had both the junior high and senior high attending here. So the high school ended up going in the morning, I think maybe like from 7 till noon. Then the junior high ended up going in the afternoon. So we missed probably about 3 or 4 days before they got things organized, and then they did the best they could with under the circumstances.
What was high school like for you?
Yeah, high school for me, I enjoyed high school. I was always involved in a lot of the sports. I recall going to Woodcrest Elementary back in the days and watching the high school kids come over there and practice in the afternoon, and going to the small gym watching basketball games in the evenings, sitting in the folding chairs too deep, and people sitting out in the hallway watching the game and so forth back in the late 50s. So I did a lot of sports in high school, playing football, basketball, and baseball. And as far as classes, mostly just college prep classes, some of my math classes, a couple of years of German, and I think the variety of classes that were offered aren't as many as today, of course. Now a lot more computer classes, whatnot. Back then it was, learning how to type. That was the extent of our work up to computer areas, but mostly just college prep classes, and the school was pretty close-knit. Most of the activities drew lots of kids. Just as I noticed toward the end of the 60s, early 70s, the school seemed to be no longer the center of the community as much as it was back in the 60s and late 50s. I think we had some good good teachers at the time there, as we have all through the years. I know a lot of the people end up taking German from John Oliverius. He taught here for quite a few years. He had his kids come through school here. Mert Fox, she was a algebra teacher, and then she ended up coaching the cheerleaders. And so she was a fixture here for many years, and I know everybody enjoyed having her as a teacher. So we had a good staff. Fred Hawker passed away a few years ago. He was always involved with the school, and I recall coming up watching baseball games in the late 50s, early 60s. He'd be umpiring the games out back. So a lot of involvement with the faculty and the students both at that time. Yeah. Back in the 60s, mid-60s there, they didn't have much for girls' athletics. What they had was GAA, and that was basically after school they'd get together in the gym and play some volleyball. And that was pretty much the extent of it. The boys pretty much dominated the sports scene. We had some strong football teams all through the 60s, basketball teams, conference champions several years in a row. Track team was strong under Don Watson. He ended up starting the track program and building the track itself. So Spring Lake Park was a strong sports community, although for the females that was long before Title IX, and now the girls' scene has come on strong in the last few years.
How was the high school complex laid out back in the 60s?
When they first built it, of course, in the sand dunes out here, it was just one wing heading south. I know where the athletic director's office is now, and then eventually they added on the junior high wing where the ALC is held now, and this had the one gym, a small gym, and eventually, I think in 1960, they built the big gym, the red gym, which we call it now, and I think by my junior year, they had to put in the area around the lunchroom area, the courtyard up there, so they were kind of gradually building on, spreading out further and further as the classes became bigger and bigger.
How would you describe the typical lunch?
Oh, lunches back in those days, they're pretty similar. I think every Friday we had mashed potatoes and fish sticks, peanut butter sandwiches. Now, of course, you don't have any peanut butter sandwiches around anymore. I think the price of a lunch was a quarter, and I think $1.10 for a week, for five lunches. And as far as some of the different foods offered, I think now they offer a lot more. And some things that I thought were pretty good, they've kind of done away with as much, But one of the things faculty used to kid me about is the fact that I probably ate more school lunches here than anybody. But I always enjoyed them. I thought they, for the amount you paid for lunches, they were pretty good.
How would you describe the community?
Yeah, back in the 60s, it said it was a pretty close community. As far as a main downtown, there wasn't anything as far as a downtown area. The big gathering spot in the 60s after the games on Friday nights was Jay's Pizza. Everybody go up there. Everybody's kind of involved in the games. As I said, if they weren't playing, they were part of the band or coming in to watch the games. Everybody took a real good interest. One of the main areas, I suppose, is up by Jay's area, and that area's changed a lot. It used to be, a few gas stations up there, Laddie Lake Inn, which has been replaced now. The Village Inn over by where Brema's gasoline station used to be on 10 there, and so things have changed there. The lumberyard came in, of course, and Zabel's cabins, they're gone now. But, the same area is still there long before the Northtown area. Northtown coming in, of course, just in a pasture off San Bruno Road there. So that was a big event coming in. That was something bigger than even Apache Plaza. I think of course, the size of the district is changing. The boundaries kind of stayed the same, but as far as the population, of course, a lot more housing going in up towards the TPC area, as we're seeing more of our enrollment coming from that area. I think down in the south part of the school district here, I see a lot of people have stayed in their houses over a long period of time. I know, like where my mother lives, we've lived in that same neighborhood since I was 4 years old. She's still living there. So we see, the new families, I think, are going up north further, and the school district has made note of that fact, building the new elementary up there. And I think you see a lot of houses down the south part of the district here becoming a little bit older, and a little bit older neighborhoods, and probably a little bit older community in this end of this district. I think back when I started there, as far as sod, a lot of the area wasn't even sodded. recall going out to our baseball diamond. The infield would be sodded, but the outfield was a lot of weeds. You'd have to pick up a baseball. You have to pick the sandburrs off at first. And the practice field for football, same thing. You know, dirt and sandburrs and whatnot. Now, of course, we have sod all over. We've got the new football field with artificial turf. Like I mentioned, back in the late 50s for basketball gym, they had this the small gym located there. And eventually, we thought it was pretty nice when they got the red gym in. You know, they thought that was pretty big, and now, of course, that's going, and they're adding more gyms and extra gyms all over. But of course, now the involvement's more too with the you know, girls' athletics. You know, getting the equal time with boys, and you know, we have to have some place to practice. So we got to expand along with the community use of gymnasiums.
What was the technology like at the time?
Yeah, as far as technology, for the students, there wasn't too awful much. I know our typing classes, they had both electric and manual typewriters. So I think half your term in that typing class you used the manual, and halfway through we switched. So we thought, oh, pretty nice, we got to be on an electric typewriter. And of course, nowadays you ask a kid what a typewriter is, and most of them don't even know what it is. You know, the AV equipment has changed. Now we used to have the reel-to-reel, threading the film through, and the film breaking and stuff, watching the videos or movies and so forth. You know, technology used now in just in the sporting events, watching game films and so forth, has changed so much. In the past years, there wasn't much at all. Football games we used to have to play in the afternoons. Back in the Skyline Conference, just a couple teams had lights for night games. You know, Osseo and St. Paul Park and Forest Lake, but now everybody in the conference plays at night. So everything's changing a lot. Coming up to you know, the 21st century technology and equipment.
Do you have any favorite memories from high school?
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of memories. I enjoyed school. Back when the school was smaller, of course, you knew a lot of kids in the older classes. You looked up to myself, some of the athletes. I think of watching as a elementary kid back in 5th and 6th grade, watching the basketball team back in 1959 play, and following them until they got beat out by, you know, the big Anoka school district, you know. And, you know, watching all the sports was my big thing. You know, keeping track of some of the older kids, you know, almost as mentors, you know, and trying to follow in their footsteps. And everybody seemed to know everybody and enjoyed everybody. It was a very close community. And like I said, a lot of involvement in all the activities, whether it be a high school dance, the sock hops, Sadie Hawkins dance, you know, the bands and choirs, you know, are big involvements, school plays. So when there was an event sponsored, everybody seemed to gravitate toward that event.